So let's go to question 2, which is, what are some ways you or people you, what are some ways you or people you know have been coping with the effects of COVID-19? So maybe just like, I know for myself, something that I've been trying to do is kind of just like take more time for myself. I mean, it's kind of obvious we all have more time for ourselves now that we're just like trapped in the house, but like actually being deliberate with that time and like setting aside time for like reflection and just like meditation or whatever, however you call it, just like centering yourself. If you actually set aside that time and like be deliberate with that time, I feel like that helps a lot. And that's something that I've been trying to do more often, since now like we have all the time in the world, basically.
100% agree with that. I feel like for me too, before when we had school and other activities still going, I was kind of like still within trapped in that excuse of like, I don't have time, I can't find time. And now it's like, if you make up an excuse for not having time, then you feel pathetic because you have all the time in the world. So I feel like that was just my motivation to go and, just go outside whenever you can, go take walks, go be outside, go do things. So on top of being able to relax and kind of have that like, lazy time too, but also making sure like there's that time for personal growth.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like biggest thing with me is that, I have a lot more family time, because usually like I'd show up at the school at 6 a.m. and not leave till late in the evening, right? And I'd be home doing my homework, 3 hours of homework a night, eat dinner. Didn't allow for that much family time. So it allows me, to really hang out with my family and spend quality family time, especially when you're home basically 24 hours a day, have no other option to go anywhere. It's really nice though. And that's, one of the main things I'm using to cope with COVID so far is basically just, enjoy the people around me while they're here.
For sure. And I feel like for me, it's realizing that like it's coping with COVID-19, but now that we're not going back to school as of today, it's like it's just coping with the new normal and what am I gonna make of my time, and it's finding those things that I like to do and then finding things that I need to do to still push myself forward, that usually just being in the system of school and a routine that you're pushed to do those things usually. And now it's like those institutions aren't there to push you by themselves. So you have to like find it within yourself to do those things that you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. So definitely just learning how to do that is fun.
And I feel like, okay, Mr. Lemon, like one thing he told me last week was like, this probably, to be honest, is like the most college prep you guys have gotten all your 4 years at De La Salle. Just like being at home, being on your own time, like you have to do your own time management. And even though we don't really have like that much homework, I mean, for me personally, like compared to when I was in school, I have way less with the online, but still just knowing how to like manage your time appropriately, know how to like just get things done, because you're not at school every single day for your teacher to be barking at you, get this in, get this in, get this in. It's kind of just on you now. You just have to like take responsibility for everything you've got to get done and prioritize and then just do it. So I feel like that could be like a positive takeaway from this time, is like, man, this is really how college is going to be. Like, it's really just down to me and down to my own will. So.
And I feel like this, allows us to figure out who we truly are. It's easy for us to wake up when our parents at our door at 7:30 telling us their school, right? But like, it's not, that same motivation is not there at 9 o'clock in the morning. We have to wake up for a Zoom meeting or a Google Meet meeting, right? That is quote unquote not mandatory, but recommended that you show up, which is, a whole nother conversation within itself. But right. But yeah, like waking up, working out before school, takes on a whole different meaning when you don't have that motivation or that hard deadline where you have to be in school by 8:30 or you have to be there by this time, because it's all up to you at this point.
For sure.
I think it's been the best challenge though that we've gotten, like Mr. Lemon said, from out of this experience of De La Salle, because I feel like De La Salle has given us so many tips on how to be like an individual, to be unique, and how to manage your time and things like that. But now it's time to put that to the test, because I think it's all talk, no action. And like them telling us how to be young emerging adults, and it's like, well, how are we still young emerging adults and you're still holding our hand? But now like there's no hand holding. So I think it's personal growth on everyone's end, because you have to, no matter what, push yourself every single day to somewhat be engaged,
Mm-hmm.
even if that's the bare minimum. But you have to put in whatever effort you put in is what you get out.
Yep.
It is crazy seeing how unusual this situation is for us. Like
Right.
it's crazy that just taking time for ourselves is something so abnormal and so abstract to us, even though that's all we're here and that's all we're doing, you know, like we're just here for ourselves and we're so used to being reliant on the system that we don't even know how to rely on ourselves.
Yeah. And it's like, we honestly weren't even like, okay, when this whole entire first thing started, like, I could honestly say I was prepared, but I wasn't like I was prepared to be independent from like, you know, the system and school and stuff like that, like in the sense that we have everything we need to like survive. You know what I'm saying? We're fully equipped, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like we didn't ever really realize that at some point that was just gonna have to happen. Like, and we didn't get any type of warning either. So it was just kind of like, okay, we were looking forward to May, what was it, 21st? May 21st. Okay, that's like our big break. Then we're really going to have to take the training wheels off, right? But no, that's like you're riding down the hill and then your training wheels just fall off and you're already just on the bike. So it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
that's basically what happened.
It is what it is. That's all I can say.
Like, who can really say they've ended high school 2 months early just for no reason?
Yeah.
You know, in the last
down in history.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we were all prepared as far as, you know, going to a school that, you know, mostly is online to begin with and stuff like that. But I don't think we were socially or emotionally prepared for what this brought. And that's what we're struggling with. You know, going to school online is easy. You know, less work, you take an at-home test and stuff like that. But like not being able to see your friends for an extended period of time, like that's what hurts. Right. And, you know, it's gonna be tough to get over this, but who knows when this is gonna end, and we're gonna have to deal with it because this is probably gonna be our new normal for the foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me wonders though, like, is this like the exposed normal? Because like even in the past years, this is how we got through school. Just the teachers didn't like acknowledge it or like appreciate it in a way. Like, you know, online is our generation. And that's what I feel like our schools were kind of fighting for a while and trying to resist against, even though they were giving us technology, but we were still like in the practice of, you know, kind of like an 1800s model of just like the schooling system. When we're still like, you know, you sit in your classroom, you sit in your desk, you're going to be talked to and then respond if you want, whatever. But like now it's like we're truly schooling the way our generation knows how to, if that makes sense, that we've kind of been practicing and leading up to, but now it's like actually put in place so we can perform it in a way that's not looked down upon in a way, you know?
I definitely get what you're saying because like I feel like, okay, our school, and don't get me wrong, like our school, we've been blessed to like have all the access to technology that we have and like have all of those things available for us because a lot of like students our age and a lot of people in high school don't have that access. But like, and like our school's done a great job of trying to utilize those technologies, but at the same time, it's kind of like, it was almost kind of counterintuitive because it's like we have all of this stuff that we could literally just go to school online without going into the actual building like we are doing right now. But, you know, you still have us come in 5 days a week, whatever time, 8 to 3, like sit in the desks. And even in our classrooms, we don't even really utilize the technology that we really have. Like,
exactly. We don't at all.
Okay, you're using this device for your homework, but in class, you have to be right here with me, right? And so I feel like now, like even the teachers are kind of on edge because they had to have a whole switch in how they teach. They weren't used to having their lessons be like through technology, solely through technology, whereas that was our normal. So now we're over here like, okay, welcome to my world. And the teachers are
exactly. Because I feel like the teachers always look at it as them challenging us. But now it's like, now you're playing my game. How can we challenge you? Because you can't give us the same assignments that you have no idea on what we're doing behind the screen. So you have to challenge like your own teaching skills because you have to give the right assignments, the right ones where you know kids have to put in some amount of effort to be giving their own answers rather than just sharing with their classmates all the time. So I think it's kind of it's definitely a challenge on both ends because whereas for the teachers having to change their whole curriculum, we know this game, but at the same time, we got our senior year snatched from us. So that's a challenge.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I think like that's not even just us two now. It's like this was us as a private school, and now it's going to be like the whole education field. Now kids in public schools, everybody has access to education because this has forced them to have access. So now we're at like a more equal playing field, and I think it's going to change just how we see it.
Right.
And I think it's important to this online school that, they're not able to administer tests the way they do. Standardized tests are changing drastically, right, in favor of the students because they realize, okay, how are these students going to take these tests at home when not every student has access to the same resources that others do, right? And that's what we're starting to see, okay, more of these classes and stuff move to project-based, right, and, creative-based assignments rather than, your hard book assignments, which it should have been doing in the first place, right? And this is when we're starting to see, maybe this is a message from, God or something else where, it wasn't being done in favor of the students. It wasn't being done right in the first place. So I'm going to change it, right? And it's sad that it takes a global pandemic for ultimately educators and education system to wake up in this form, but, by whatever means necessary to ensure that future generations are able to, go in the workplace, with an active mind and able to contribute effectively rather than going there like a robot and working a 9-to-5 job, almost in a meat packing factory.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And my thing is like, they always ask us, how are we coping with COVID-19? The real question, how are we coping with being in the system before? That's the question, because there was no free movement. This is this box, you fit in it or you don't. That's your choice for your future. And now we're realizing that box, anybody can get behind the screen. So now we actually have to play this game to make sure that people can do things that cater to their needs and their abilities and strengths, because there's no other way to measure their capabilities if we only go by whether you can fill an A, a B, a C.